Hey sightseers, we are out in the woods again, out on a hike, checking out a possible location of a former Boy Scout camp. Not really sure if the trail is going to lead us anywhere, if at all. But at least we're out in the sunshine, out in nature, and away from people, which is important these days. So, hopefully you'll enjoy this little bit of a hike. Again, not really sure where it's going to lead us or what we're going to find, but hey, half the fun is the journey, right? Looks like the snow hasn't fully melted out here yet, because there's some more. And I don't know if you know this, but the weather forecast indicates we're supposed to get a severe snowstorm, possibly in these parts. Stay tuned for that. So we got what looks like a cedar swamp here in amongst the pine trees that are around us. These types of woods always give me the heebie-jeebies. I think they look like they're haunted. One thing you'll notice as we're walking back through here is all the trees that are down, the destruction. Of course, this is the result of those microbursts that occurred last summer. And the forestry crew haven't gotten back here yet to log all this stuff out. See what I mean about how these trees are just bent over? Can you imagine the sheer force of the wind that caused these trees to bend like this? And they'll never grow back straight, so they have to log them off. If you look here, you can see some pine cones. I guess certain types of pine cones go for some big money on eBay. But of course, you have to have the right pine cones. And I'm pretty sure these aren't the ones that are going for big bucks. Looks like deer have been through here. One thing you'll notice as we're walking through here is how dry everything is. Despite all the rain that we've recently gotten and the snow that's melted, it's still really dry out here. So they've put in a fire ban, and that means they're not even handing out burn permits for people to burn up here. So if you're coming up here in the North Woods and expecting to burn your rubbish or your leftover leaves and spring trimmings, legally you're not supposed to right now. And judging by how dry everything looks, I don't even know why you would want to risk it. Check out the bark on this tree. I believe it's a paper birch, so it peels in thin layers just like paper would, which is why it's called paper birch. Here's some more on the other side of the trail. As you can see, this one is marked with the mint green paint, which I believe is an indication for the forestry management team that comes through and chainsaws down all the trees that these are trees that need to come down. And unfortunately, the paper birch are susceptible to certain types of bugs and diseases, which is why they are probably marked. Looks like the woodpeckers were having a field day on this tree. Look at all them holes. And then over there is a huge tree that fell over in the windstorm. That is its root ball. And that tree's massive. Think about the force of the wind that came through here to get that tree to fall over. Can you guys hear that? It's a woodpecker. I know some of you are probably thinking we're a bit crazy after watching our last video, but I tell you what, I feel more comfortable, more safe being out in the woods than I do being around hordes of people these days. And personally, I've always felt more comfortable being out in the wild, being out in nature. And so that's just how I roll. Well, I wonder what's going on here. Looks like somebody lashed together these sticks. I don't know if they're trying to make a teepee or some kind of Boy Scout thingy or what. Yeah, I know, Boy Scout thingy. I really am not familiar at all with the Boy Scouts. I wasn't even in Girl Scouts. I was in something called Pioneers. So forgive the lingo. If somebody knows what I'm talking about though, if somebody has experience Boy Scouting, Girl Scouting, let me know the technical term for the thingy in the comment section below. This whole clearing is drier than a bone. If you just lit up a match and let it go here, whew, I imagine you'd have a huge forest fire on your hands. Check out the moss that's growing around the trunk of this tree. That's really cool. And then just over to my left, you'll see some familiar looking berries. I believe those are the exact same plants that Marty was tasting berries in one of my most recent videos. Not the last one I did, but the one before, where we were out hiking and discovered the ocean coral out in the woods. If you look down here on the ground, you'll see a ton of oak leaves, which means there are a ton of oak trees growing in this forest. Where they are, we have no idea, because if we look around us, we see no oak trees whatsoever. Do you see any oak trees?
No.
Me either. But they're here because their leaves are on the ground. Check out this fungus that's growing on the side of the tree. That's really cool stuff. Reminds me of potato chips for some reason. It looks like it might be a bit of a bust as far as finding any ruins of any old cabins or buildings left over from the original Bear Paw Boy Scout camp. However, based on everything that we've seen so far, I'm assuming this big cleared out section is probably the most likely area where the Boy Scouts camped. Whether it was in cabins, I don't know, but we haven't seen anything else that's as cleared out in this area as this spot. So that would be my guess. What do you guys think? Well, here's something interesting. I found what looks like a couple of square indentations here in the tall grass. I wonder if it's possible that this is where maybe some sort of cabin stood at one time, and now all that remains are the holes left over by where the footings would have been for the cabins or the buildings. So there's the one that I was pointing to, and then if we pan over this way, right in that spot here is where it looked like almost a square shaped hole in the grass. That isn't something you would find natural in nature. And here's a third one, which is directly in line of that one, right there, right at the tip of my walking stick. So that leads me to believe that perhaps there was something that once stood here in this general area.
Good as this the one. Batteries are dead. No SD card in it to record.
I guess it's just for looks, huh?
Maybe. Intimidation, I don't know.
Looks like we hit the end of the line, folks. Special thanks goes out to all our fellow sightseers here on Patreon and PayPal. Without you, these videos wouldn't be possible. Of course, we couldn't come here without finding this. Looks like we're gonna have to take it home and toss it in the garbage. Phooey on litter bugs.